In this video, we're going to be talking about finding the vertex of a quadratic when you're given the function. Quadratics can have one of two forms, either standard form or vertex form. Standard form looks like f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. If we're trying to find the vertex of a quadratic in standard form, then we need to know the vertex formula, which is h comma k equals negative b over 2a f of negative b over 2a. So let's look at an example of this. Example 1, we have f of x equals 4x squared plus 16x plus 8. Let's identify our a, b, and c first to make things a little bit easier. Our a is always our number with our x squared. So here, a is going to be 4. Our b is always going to be the number with our x. So here, our b is 16. And our c is always going to be the number by itself. So here it's 8. So let's try to find our vertex. Well, h is equal to negative b over 2a. So for this problem, we have negative 16 over 2 times 4, which gives us negative 16 over 8, which is negative 2. Next, we use our h to find our k, because k is equal to f of negative b over 2a, which is h. So we have 4 times negative 2 squared plus 16 times negative 2 plus 8, which is equal to 4 times 4 plus negative 32 plus 8, which we can put in our calculator and gives us negative 8. So our vertex for this function is going to be h comma k, which is negative 2, negative 8. Let's try another example. In our second example, we have f of x equals 2x squared minus 3x plus 4. Again, let's identify our a, b, and c first. Our a is going to be 2. Our b is going to be negative 3. And our c is going to be 4. So let's try plugging it into the formula. H is equal to negative b over 2a. So we have negative 3 over 2 times 2, which gives us 3/4 for our h. Next, we'll plug our h back into our function to get our k. So that means we have 2 times 3/4 squared minus 3 times 3/4 plus 4, which gives us 23 over 8. So our vertex, h comma k, is going to be the point 3/4, 23 over 8. So that looks a little bit complicated. It's when your quadratic is in standard form, it is a little bit harder to find the vertex. But now we're going to move on to the easy one, vertex form. Vertex form looks like f of x equals a x minus h squared plus k. So if we're trying to find our vertex and our quadratics in vertex form, our vertex is easy. It's simply h comma k. So let's look at our first example. We have f of x equals 3, quantity, x minus 4 squared, plus 6. So if we look at our form, we see that we have 4 in the h spot. And we see that we have 6 in the k spot. So our h comma k is equal to 4 comma 6. Let's look at our second example. Our second example gets a little bit harder, but we're basically going to do the same thing. So we have f of x equals quantity x plus 5 squared minus 3. So our one little issue is that it doesn't immediately fit the form because we have a plus where there should be a minus, and we have a minus where there should be a plus. But we can rewrite our function, f of x, to have the correct signs of the form if we have x minus negative 5 squared, because subtracting a negative is the same thing as adding, and we have plus negative 3, because adding a negative is the same thing as subtracting. So now we can just look at our function, and we have a negative 5 in the h spot, and we have a negative 3 in the k spot. So our vertex, h comma k, is equal to negative 5 comma negative 3.